Yo guys, this is DLQ Gaming. I've got another video for you today. In this video I'm going to be discussing the heal role in DC Universe Online. Healing is always a really fun power for me personally. You get a lot more out of the game in terms of running a variety of different content. You always feel like you're bringing more to the group, you're helping the group in quite a crucial way. When you're in a raid, an elite raid, as a healer, your healing is going to be keeping the group alive during those trickier moments of the boss fight. I always feel like I'm bringing something really crucial to the group, and it's just a really engaging power, engaging role to the game. I'm going to be talking about healing from the points of view of my two heal toons, Aliena, my Celestial power toon, and Emperor Tidal, my Water heal power toon. As they're the two powers I'm a little bit more experienced with. I will be referencing other heal powers as well, but for the purpose of this video I'm mainly going to be focusing on Celestial and Water healing, two very different heal powers, just to sort of gain some perspective on those two, and just to give you guys an idea of what to expect when you heal, what spec I'm using, what types of heal you're going to come across in raids, and so on and so forth, you know. So stay tuned into this video. I'm going to be talking really in depth about healing, about artifacts as well, because that's going to play a crucial role. And yeah, enjoy the video. I hope everyone finds it useful. Before I continue this video, I want to give a big shout out to Vnubis. He's a league mate of mine from EU Villain League Brawlers, the Brawlers, and I also want to give a shout out to Reverse Sentry. Both have been sort of mentors to me in some way or other. I couldn't do a heal guide video or discuss healing in this sort of level of depth without sort of referencing those two players in some form, both of which have been really amazing. Two of the best heals in the game at the moment, and I've learned a lot from those two players in some way or other. Okay, so regarding the spec for healing, it's more or less the same for both the types of heal I'm going to talk about in this video. You're going to want to go to your weapon. You have a few choices for a weapon. It really depends on the player. There's a few options. For my main heal arm, I use Brawling, just because it's quicker power back to you, and obviously power is very important as a healer. And also because, especially in the current elite raids, Fractured God Sphere Elite, it's very good for breaking out the cages of the Wonder Women and possibly fellow players as well. So you're going to want that filled up, and then you're going to want the Shuriken Storm Mastery for your main weapon mastery you're going to be using, so which is this tap and that. So that's your main brawling combo you're going to be doing. So you're going to want that filled up, and then you're going to want the martial arts as well. You want that filled up so you can unlock the martial arts mastery, and then when you've done that you go back to brawling, and you're going to unlock, you can unlock both of them, but I mean it's mainly Shuriken Storm Mastery you're going to be after, but I mean unlock both of them just to be on the short side of things. It's only one skill point, it's not a big deal. On my supercharged heal side, I use Hand Blaster. So the benefit of using Hand Blaster is you only need Solar Flame and this. You don't need any weapon mastery, so you can spec more into your power, into your resto. So it's a bit more efficient in that regard, but of course you don't have the weapon mastery to consider. So I mean you're going to be doing less in terms of your damage, but you're going to be doing power back to yourself with this. Obviously damage isn't a real concern as a healer unless you're a battle heal, but that's like what I do as my supercharged heal. It's mainly because originally I wanted to be Hand Blaster for this episode, and then obviously once I was running Elite and it was really buggy for quite a few weeks, where it was really buggy on that last phase of Zeus fight. It was better to have the brawling weapon just so you could break people out of cages, and of course at the time Wonder Women were breaking out of cages fairly frequently. So definitely, I say Hand Blaster or Brawling are good for this. I have used dual wield in the past with water. It really just depends on your playstyle as a player, but I think Hand Blaster and Brawling are the main two at the moment. I have seen a few players play with bow as well, but like I say, most people will be Hand Blaster or Brawling at the moment. Okay, so going further into my spec, so you've got that. Super speed, I mean, it's not a big deal, you don't really need anything for super speed, at least not if you're a pure heal. If you're a supercharged heal, and I'll go more into this in a minute, you're going to want a metabolic boost and speed drain. You're going to want these two because they are going to be your superchargers that you're going to be using as a healer in raids to help generate supercharge for your group so that they can use their supercharges more often. So the troll can use their shield supercharges, the DPS can be using their DPS supercharges more and doing more damage to the boss. So these are definitely worth it if you're a supercharged heal build. If you're a pure heal, you don't need them, but you can have them there if you really want to. It just depends on your spec. Iconic powers, you don't really need anything. I have Pheromone Bloom. This is kind of optional again. If you're running, there are some healers that I see running with 3 superchargers in their loadout if they're Gemini spamming, so maybe have this in there if you're doing that. I personally just stick with 2. I think it's important you're still healing the group. If you can still use 3 superchargers, then great, but it's not absolutely necessary. The DPS will probably appreciate it, but as long as you're still healing the group, then it's fine. But I personally just prefer just the 2 supercharges in that case. You're going to want hybrids. 20 skill points into critical healing chance, 40 skill points into critical healing and magnitude. Your priority is always going to be might and power. You're going to want the power to do your healing. If you're prioritizing resto first then might and power, you're going to be less on power, and that's going to be something that you're going to have to take into consideration when you're in a raid, especially during a tricky part of the raid. So let's say last phase of Zeus, you've got people breaking out of cages, you've got the Wonder Woman breaking out of cages, you've got a lot of damage on the group. You're going to want to make sure you've got enough power to heal the group. Okay, especially in, I mean, I have seen a few healers solo heal this as well, which is pretty impressive if you can do that. But yeah, you're going to want to prioritize your power first and then this after, in most cases. So 275 skill points into might and power, and then whatever you have left into restoration. Obviously my skill points are higher, so I have 536 skill points on this toon, so of course I have more skill points to play with, but I'd always prioritise might and power anyway, just because you're going to want the power to actually heal with, and then the rest is like a cherry on top, certainly. Okay. Going into, I'm going to go to my pure heal build first. So going to my armory, you could have resto in your elite affinity mods. I use might because I do might DPS with this toon, but it's down to you. And then you'll have healing, conservation, and field medic. And then yep, like I say, brawling is my weapon for pure heal. Supercharge, it really depends. I mean, it depends on your power. I have sacrifice on Aliena for Celestial just because having that supercharge on the last boss at certain points is quite handy. I personally always prefer Cursed Idol as a supercharge, but it's just the shielding during certain parts of last boss in this particular elite raid. I always prefer sacrifice, but I'd say it depends on the raid. There's a few options you can have for your pure heal build. Neck, obviously focus restoration. Back you have a few options. You can go Accelerated Blessing or Accelerated Divine Light. I personally prefer a Blessing just because it's extra shielding. I'm not going to be spamming Divine Light. I mean, you can do, but I prefer the shields personally. Maybe that's just where I've been water for so long, but I prefer the shields. Reserve tank, you're going to want more power, of course. Power is very important. This doesn't really matter for leg mod because you don't really use Wrath of the Presence as a healer. And then Tumbling Master for foot mods, just because it's easier to kite around with Tumbling Master if you need to. And then for hand mod you want regenerative shielding, so that's your hand mod, because obviously when you're using a shield, which is Blessing, then you're going to be healing yourself. In terms of I have Bottle City Soda as well, just because that's quite useful for healing. It's not essential. You could have the Nutri sodas from the most recent episode, but I mean this is probably more handy as a healer. You don't really want to run out of sodas as a healer, so I would definitely stick with Bottle City Soda. And then for your utility belt, I have Sidekick. Not many players use Sidekick. A few people have started to pick up on it recently, but with Sidekick you're going to get power back when you have the maximum tier on your base. So when you're activating your main frame, you have your Sidekick at the 3rd tier, you're going to get power back from that pet. And for me, power back is really more important than something that might help you heal or something that might heal you back. I'd rather have the power back to be healing more during tricky situations. So having this as a healer is really nice. It depends on the player, it depends on your power management, but I always prefer a Sidekick. And I have the survival mode Sidekick as well, just so. And then I have Orbital, I have the Central City Trinket. This isn't essential. I did sort of mention this in my description of my Celestial Heal video of Factory God Sphere Elite. It's not essential, but if you want to clip some of the dovetails off your Admonish combos and maybe some of your other combos with Celestial, it does make your healing that bit quicker. You're a bit more punctual with your healing, and that could make the difference in certain situations. So it's definitely worth it. And then Supply Drop. Regarding my artifacts, I have Page of Destiny at 200. I mean, you can get away with it at 160, but the higher up you have it, the better. I have Purple Healing Ray at 171 rank. Purple Healing Ray, if you have it at 200, you're going to be really good with the healing. It's still viable at 160 though. Even at 120 it's still fine, but I mean, I only have it at 171 just because I have 2 heal tunes with it at 170 or so, just because it's different play styles, different ways of healing. You always get more out of the game as a healer, in my opinion. So I am intending to get this up to 200 eventually on this tune, just because I feel Celestial will benefit from it a lot more, but it's down to the player. And then I have Transformation Card as my other artifacts for pure heal, so this is going to increase your crits on your healing, which again is going to be really important in certain situations. And then you can also, so like I say, for your Supercharged spec, more or less the same, except you have Metabolic Boost for your head mod or Speed Drain, whichever you prefer. I mean, it might be worth getting Speed Drain in some cases, especially on first boss with Grail in Factory God Sphere Elite, because Speed Drain might help free your mind-controlled allies a bit quicker. And then I have Eye of Gemini instead of Transformation Card, because obviously you're going to want that supercharged generation for your fellow group members and for yourself. And then of course you're going to want to be rotating supercharges. If you're heal and you're wanting to generate supercharge, you should really be super speed. It's not a big deal if you're not generating supercharge, but if you are, you're going to have to be super speed, because you've got Metabolic Boost and Speed Drain. They're really important, and you can rotate between them. And like I say, there are some heals that are even using Pheromone Bloom, and you could switch out one of your heal powers on the bottom with Pheromone Bloom and have like 3 2500 supercharges. That's going to give you a lot of supercharge generation for your group, because you're going to be having that on the go constantly. But it depends on the player. Like I say, I always like to make sure I'm healing the group first, and then if I can get more supercharge in there, then great. But it's not like an absolute priority for me. I think 2 is enough. 2500 supercharges is enough. Yeah, so both these are 2500 supercharge, and the cooldowns are fairly quick. But like I say, it depends on the player. So as I've explained just now, you're going to have two setups for your heal, which is going to be pure heal, where you have the transformation card, Page of Destiny and Purple Healing Ray, and then you're going to have the supercharged heal, which involves Eye of Gemini. Some healers, especially if it's a main heal, will probably have Scapular Skull Cloak there, just because again it's more supercharged for the group. It's not essential, but obviously the more supercharge you have for the group the better. In some cases that's going to really help you out, but like I say, it's not essential. So at CR317 on Aliena, my restoration is sitting at around 49,664. Stats aren't a big deal nowadays because it's all about what your artifacts are doing. Resto does help, but it's not the be all end all. You're going to have it's all going to depend on what artifacts you got or what rank they're at. So if you have transformation card, you're not getting a huge amount of restoration out of that compared to other artifacts, but at the same time you're getting more critical chance and critical heals, which is going to be a big deal when you're pure healing at the moment. So yeah, my restoration's at 49,664, and if my augments, I have they're all at 277, which is the current maximum for the most recent episode, Wonderverse, and they're all kind of full. So, and of course I also have the DLC augments. I don't have both of them at 23 rank, only one. I don't think it's necessary to have both. I mean, you can do, but it's not a big deal. It's whether it depends. I mean, it depends really on what groups you've got for last boss with Zeus, but it's not a massive priority. One is kind of important because of Grail with surviving the Omega Execute, but having two isn't that big a deal. I forgot to mention as well my generator mods. I think that's quite an important thing to mention. So if I go down to my generator in my base, so I'm in Black Castle, which is Aliena's base, you're going to want power, because you're going to want the power for yourself. I have the most recent up-to-date generator mods. Restoration is for the extra healing for yourself, and then I'm a might DPS on my might side, so I've got my might maxed out as well. Like I say, for affinity mods, if you really want to prioritize restoration, you can use resto affinity mods, but because I'm DPSing on this tune as well, I'm using might. But you can switch between the two if you want to, but it will cost you marks of source marks to do that, so you just have to take that into consideration. Okay, so my next point with healing, it comes down to the types of heals you're going to get with regards to your powers. So if I go to my loadout as a Celestial, I'm going to go to my Pure Heal Armory. So I have Renew, that's my priority heal. You're going to need that because your priority heal is going to heal your most injured group member. This also procs with Orb of Orion if you have that up on that tune, and it's also going to proc Pebble Healing Ray. I'll go into more into detail about that in a moment. But when you use Renew, you're instantly healing your group member, and it has to be your group member in the group. Shields, if you have a shield as a 4-man shield, that's really nice if you have that. That's going to really help protect the group from some damage. Admonish, I'm going to go more into detail about this just because it's different from other heal powers. When you use the initial combo, it's a group heal, so you only heal yourself and up to 3 nearby group members. So when you use that is your group heal for you and your 4 group members. Sorry, 4 group members in the group, so you included. When you combo it, which let me go to Blight Cleanse, which is the combo thing. So it says create a divine energy explosion at your feet, dealing damage over time to nearby enemies. While in heal roll, decreases damage dealt, but heals you and up to 7 group members over time. So when you combo Admonish, you combo it, and the initial thing is a 4-man heal, but when you combo it into Cleanse Blight, it is a 8-man group heal. So it heals your whole group. So which is why you'll see many players comboing Admonish into Cleanse Blight. They work hand in hand together, and you're going to want to do one to the other. Okay, so make sure when you're comboing Admonish that you do that, because it's going to be more heals for the whole group, not just like you and the 3 members that are lesser in health. And there are going to be certain times for sure where you're going to need to have a 8-man heal. Consume Soul. Both Consume Soul and Virtuous Light are nearby ally heals. Or heal allies. So this is what is also known as an NPC heal. So this will heal you and group members, but if you have other allies there, like NPCs or other players, let's say you're running bounties, and you have other players that are around you that are also the same faction as you, they're not in your group, you're still going to be healing them with Consume Soul and Virtuous Light. Now with Consume Soul, it's nearby allies. With Virtuous Light, this is one of the only heal powers in the entire game which is healing allies. Not nearby allies, allies. So yes, that's going to be healing at quite a big range, which is one of the reasons why Celestial is quite a preferred heal power this episode, because there's certain boss fights you're going to be quite spread out in the room. So if you can heal allies and you're not relying on the proximity of the player to yourself, that's going to be really, really nice healing for you and for the group. So definitely you want to have Virtuous Light. I do see some players running Guardian's Light instead, and you can heal yourself and up to 7 group members over time. Personally, I find this too slow. I always prefer Virtuous Light, because I think if I'm going to do quick heals, if it's a tricky situation, I want to get as many quick and good heals as possible to the group over a slow heal like Guardian's Light. But like I said, there are heals that still use this. It's still viable, but I personally prefer Virtuous Light over Guardian's Light. But they're both options that you can consider as a healer. And then for Supercharge, I have Sacrifice. It depends on the episode and the raid. Cursed Idol I've used a few times in the past as extra healing. Heals you and nearby allies over time, so again another NPC heal, as something you can consider. But I think for this episode, especially with Last Boss, I'd rather have the extra shielding, so Sacrifice is my preferred option here. And it just, yeah, so it obviously heals over time and it does protective shields, so it's a very nice supercharge. But it is a 10,000 supercharge cost, so you're going to be doing more, you're going to be using more supercharge, so obviously you have to be using it at crucial moments. You can use Consecrated Ground, but then again it depends on the sort of content you're running. If you're running like survival mode, then Consecrated Ground is pretty nice because it shields you from very big attacks. But normally I'd use Sacrifice in a certain, like I say, it depends on the sort of raid. It may change next episode, but we shall see. Hey guys, CLQ Gaming. I'm in the Dunes Metropolis, and I'm showcasing healing just literally. So my Renew is my priority heal, and I'm using that on my league mate who's in my group at the moment. He stood in the Spore Cloud, and every time I heal him, and it now just procs my my Purple Healing Ray. So he's now got a shield because that's what that does. So now I'm using my group heal, and now that's just procced as well. Again, where he stood in the cloud, he's getting healing out, procs from my healing ray and from my group heal that I'm using in Admonish. Okay. When I use Divine Light, which is my heal allies, he's still getting healed from that. And when I use Consume Soul, he's also getting healed from that as well. Okay, so now he's not in the group, but when I use Divine Light, which heals allies, he can still be healed. Okay, he's not being healed as much, but he's still being healed nonetheless. This is something to take into consideration. So when I use Consume Soul, which heals nearby allies, he's still being healed. Hey guys, TLQ Gaming. I wanted to demonstrate this again from Emperor Tidal's point of view. He's my water heal toon. With Emperor Tidal, things are a bit different with him compared to Aliena with Celestial, and I'm going to demonstrate why. I mean, water, there's a lot of right options of water. It's one of the most versatile powers in the game in terms of choices you can make with your rotation. For the purpose of this, I was using Tempest Guard for this particular rotation. I'm going to be using Solace of the Sea just for this demonstration because what I'm going to be doing with it is very relevant to this video, and it's also water's only NPC heal, which is something that's quite a crucial part of water in terms of healing out. You're going to want your group heal because it's going to proc your Purple Healing Ray and your Page of Destiny, and you're going to want the Priority Heal because that's going to heal your Purple Healing Ray, and if you do use it, your Orb of Orion as well. Riptide, of course, Flood of Power, and like I say, Tempest Guard or Solace of the Sea, depending on the situation. It really depends on where your group is situated, proximity wise to yourself. If they're all near to you, then Solace of the Sea is really strong. If everyone's spread out over a large room, then Solace of the Sea is pointless, and your range heal options are pretty limited. I mean, this is kind of one of the issues of water. I mean, I really enjoy water. I've enjoyed water for many episodes, but the main issue is that Solace of the Sea is water's only NPC heal. It's the only heal that water has that heals you and allies over time. So anyone that's in that blue circle is going to be healed over time. Now, that is water's only option. So when you're in a boss fight with a large room, you can't use Solace of the Sea, and Solace of the Sea is a very strong heal power indeed, especially if everyone's nearby to receive that, especially if you're stacking it with Riptide, or furthermore with Flood of Power. You can really do a lot of healing with it if everyone's in that blue circle. If people aren't in that blue circle, then water can still perform okay, but it's just there are better options heal power wise than water. But I'm going to demonstrate to you what Solace of the Sea is about in a moment. But like I say, when you're in a range heal situation, you're going to want both your shields, so Bubble and Tempest Guard, whatever that's gone here. So Tempest Guard, which will prevent some damage, and Bubble, which will prevent you from damage in general for that period. Yeah, it is a good heal power, especially, but it's very dependent on proximity. If you have everyone near to you, it's going to be really strong. But it's just a bit too dependent on proximity because of Solace of the Sea. Solace of the Sea is such an important aspect of water healing. Of course, there's the other issue, that of the animation, where Solace of the Sea is quite a noticeable animation. It's a really nice one, but if you're in a raid with a lot going on, mechanics to watch out for on the ground, it's a bit annoying to you and to the group. So that's another thing you've got to work around as well. But yeah, water has a lot of potential. It just depends on the player and depends on the raid boss you're fighting, the alert boss you're fighting, where your other group members are in proximity to yourself. In terms of artifacts, I more or less use the same as I do with Aliena, same artifacts. I do have Restoration in my Affinity mods just because I don't really precision DPS on this toon anymore. So I have restoration there. And when you can use restoration, it does more healing out for you. Hey guys, I just wanted to demonstrate this from Emperor Tyler's point of view. So at the moment I'm instant healing my league mate at 143. And I'm also proccing the purple healing array. I'm also proccing the healing array with the group heal. I'm using Mending Wave. As you can see, Soil Surge C does do a lot of healing if the group member is in the proximity of that blue circle. If I go over here, doesn't heal him. He's getting a bit of healing, but for the most part he's not getting as much heals as he would be if I was right over him. He's not in my group, but because I'm using the NPC heal, which is also proccing Purple Healing Ray, he's getting the heals. So he's getting the heals from both the Purple Healing Ray and he's getting the heals from this as well. Bear in mind as well, if you have the Field Medic Elite mod on, you're going to be hearing nearby allies of that as well. So just something to bear in mind. Yo guys, I just wanted to showcase this from my electric heal tunes point of view. Now obviously bear in mind that not all my heal tunes are going to be as leveled as Alieno and Emperor Tidal. I haven't really used this tune since quite a few episodes now, so I have very outdated artifacts. I mean, Eye of Gemini I'd probably still keep hold of. No one really uses Demon's Fang for healing anymore unless you're a battle heal, and those are few and far between now. Soul Cloak you can still use if you're spamming Eye of Gemini, like I said before, but it really depends. I mean, again, with electric heal, with all heals you're going to want priority heal and group heal. A shield for you and up to three group members. You can use group transducer again. It's another shield sort of supercharge. It really depends on the sort of spec you're going for. If you're going for a supercharge spam, you're going to want smaller supercharges, so 2500 supercharges. And again, you're going to want to be super speed. I am flight on this tune, but then this is quite a low ult, so it's not a tune I'm going to be using you know, supercharges for. It's not a big deal for this particular tune, but if I ever was to go electric and switch power on one of my other tunes, which is unlikely but you never know, then you're going to want to be super speed, spam the Eye Gemini for the group so they get more supercharge. Electric is really strong right now in the current episode. It's been strong for a while. Of course you're going to want the priority heal and the group heal. Again, you got heal powers with electricity that heal our NPC heals. Galvanize is one of them. I'm not actually that experienced with electricity healing. I feel like it's one of those powers that I probably could be quite good with if I actually worked with it. Just because of the way I heal in Elite content, I probably could be quite good with it. But it just depends on your, just depends on how you're speccing. If you're pure heal, if you're supercharged heal. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. Hope you found it useful. Hope you've learned some new things about healing. If you did, feel free to like, comment and subscribe. I hope I've helped you guys out, anyone who was stuck with healing or speccing, and sort of making decisions on how you're going to heal. in a group situation, so if you're in an alert or raid or elite raid. I hope you found this video useful, and as ever I will see you in game. I have more videos coming up in the future for other worlds possibly, so just keep an eye out for those, and as ever I will see you in game. Take care, goodbye.